I'm a man who loves a good miniatures game. There's something about the tactical positioning and knowing when to move what where to accomplish your goals that always just calls to me. But sometimes the prospect of playing a miniatures game can be daunting. Having to haul around models, set up tables, get everything out, play, and then clean it all up again is just more than I want to deal with. The same problem can crop up with more tactical board games. There are just so many parts to keep track of and put away at the end of the day. That's one thing I like about card games. I can fit all I need to play them either in a single box or even in my relatively small gaming bag. So, something that combines the tactics and movement of a miniatures game with the easy setup and teardown of a card game seems right up my alley. And thank God for the glory that is Summoner Wars. This is one of those games that I've had my eyes on for a while, but been hesitant about grabbing, because what if it sucked? Well, that was foolish thinking of me, because it's made by Plaid Hat Games, the same folks who make the excellent Ashes Are Reborn, which is an absolute banger that you should check out. So it should have come as no surprise to me that, yeah, Summoner Wars is a fantastic game. In Summoner Wars, you have a deck of cards consisting of units, structures, and events that you'll play throughout the game. You can buy new faction decks to expand your collection, and you can play either with the pre-constructed decks or try building your own decks and see what wild combos you can come up with. Every deck has to have a summoner, your deck's leader, and their starting cards as shown on the back of their summoner card. This usually consists of a single gate and 2 units. During a turn, you follow a set sequence of phases, summoning new units, moving stuff around the board, attacking, casting spells, discarding cards, and then drawing your new hand. Units come in 2 flavors, common and champion. Champions tend to be the more expensive stuff, and you'll often have fewer of them in a deck. A unit's card also tells you their stats, their cost in magic points to summon them, their health value, and their strength value. When you summon a unit, you must summon them adjacent to a gate unless otherwise stated on the card, and you pay their cost in magic points to bring them to the field. You earn magic points by defeating enemy units and by discarding cards at the end of your turn. Units on the field can then move and fight. This is perhaps one of Summoner Wars' most unique aspects. Units move around the battlefield and try to jockey for position and beat the ever-loving shit out of each other. But you can only move so many units per turn, so you need to pick wisely. Some units benefit from staying near others, some want to stay away and attack from range, some want to be right up in your enemy's business and try to set multiple people on fire. You can also construct additional gates to give you more locations to summon units from, provided you have them in hand. Knocking out enemy gates is a great way to try and control the battlefield, and destroying all the enemy gates will put them at a serious disadvantage. After you've moved units around and built any new gates you can, it's time to start attacking. Units can either attack in melee or they can attack at range. Their strength will tell you not only how many dice you get to roll when they attack, but will also show what symbol they need to get hits, melee or ranged. Ranged units can attack up to 3 spaces away, further making positioning vital because you don't want to block their shots with your other guys if you can help it. Combat is pretty simple. Roll dice equal to strength, any symbol that matches their attack type does 1 damage to target. Special abilities and events can modify things to add a little more complexity, but at the core it's pretty straightforward. When a unit has as many damage counters on it as it has health, it's removed, and the player that killed it gets a magic point. So being aggressive, even with what seems like more fragile units, pays off big time if you want to start getting your heavy hitters. And if you manage to take out the opposing summoner, you win. In the magic phase, you'll play the majority of your event cards, although some can be played during other phases, and they'll list what phase the card can be played in. Like units, events have a cost, although most are free, and any event that says active in the text stays in play until the beginning of your next turn. Some of these can really turn the tide, so knowing when to play them is critical. Finally, you discard any unwanted cards from your hand and gain 1 magic point for each card discarded. This can lead to some difficult decisions though, and knowing when to chuck a card or keep it handy can be tough. I tossed an expensive character early on in one game and then promptly would have been able to play her and was suddenly really wishing I had kept her in my hand. The last step in the turn is drawing back up to a hand of 5 cards, and then your opponent takes their turn. There is more to the game than the brief description I'm giving here. Again, different units and events and effects will change how things work. Some units can reduce the amount of damage they take during attacks. Others can strike back. Some can do extra damage by forcing enemies to move, and so on. Summoner Wars also plays incredibly fast, which is to its credit. The footage I got for this video was from 2 separate games, and we banged them out in right around an hour. Considering neither me nor my friend had played before, and we had to check the rules on some things, that's still pretty impressive. I suppose you could try and draw a game out by running your summoner all around and avoiding combat as long as possible, but most summoners gain benefits from being in the action. Summoners often have ways to gain boost tokens, which they can then use for some further ability. Some can pass the tokens around and allow other units to use their own boost abilities. Others can move units around for free or increase their damage potential or get rerolls, and, well, you get the idea. If I have any criticisms, which I do because the motto around here is no game is perfect, it's that the cards being sideways is a bit weird and makes reading new stuff kind of awkward sometimes. Also, some rules aren't entirely clear, like do you gain magic from killing an enemy unit with an event card or just units? The book just says a card you control, but we couldn't really seem to find clarification on a quick glance. Also, if you buy the 2-player starter set that we were using, be aware that the paper map in it kinda sucks. The master set, which I will be buying and unboxing for you here in the future, comes with a nice cardboard map that is way nicer quality. The other thing is that some of the cards can get a little complex. There are a handful that are both units and structures, and I'm not entirely sure how that works as of this recording. Overall, though, I am super impressed with this. I'll be grabbing the master set in the future and will likely try to rope my wife into trying it and buying more decks and start trying custom builds. It's a quick playing, quick setup and teardown game with solid rules and a really charming art style. If you want tactical positioning but don't want to deal with miniatures or meeples or anything like that, give Summoner Wars a look. It scratches the itch just right, and while it won't be replacing my miniatures gaming, it is a nice alternative for when I'm feeling a little lazier than usual.